Hello.
Hello, hello, we're on.
Yes.
Okay, welcome to Grey Jabesi. Thank you so much for being on with us. A very good friend, and also we are working together a little bit now, and we're going to talk a lot about what you do very soon. And also, my dad and I are together in Cape
Same
Town.
office.
Yeah, usually we're separate. And by the way, we might have load shedding at any minute, but luckily we're set up with, maybe the lights will go down a bit, but we have an internet line. So load shedding is when just there's automatic power cuts in South Africa. And so we might have one of those in the next few minutes.
Every day there are like 5 hours now of
Yeah.
no electricity, and it's crazy.
Yeah. Anyway, so that's that. It's crazy. And great, good to have you on. How are you?
Thank you so much, guys. I'm good. It's super hot here in Dubai as usual. And it feels a little unfortunate that I will be in South Africa in like 2 weeks or so. And then I'm so scared of the whole load shedding situation there. It's not good.
Yeah. It's annoying. It's annoying. But you've been traveling all over the place, right? Where were you before Dubai?
I was in Serbia, then London, then Dubai, then back to London, then Italy, then London, then Dubai. So it's a lot of back and forth. Yeah.
That's amazing. And it's all been for crypto. It's all been for different conferences and different things around crypto.
Exactly. Yeah. Right now, crypto is really, really hot, and we have seen so many institutional investors coming on board. A lot of people trying to sort of wrap their heads around it at all levels: governments, private institutions, and just wealthy individuals. So yeah, in conferences as well.
Amazing, amazing. So let's talk a little bit first about what you do, just for people that are on, because I know for years now that you've been into crypto, and I've just seen over the years as you've gotten more and more involved and growing like crazy. Oh, there we go. We just got a load shedding.
No electricity.
No electricity, but luckily we have a light and we have internet still. So yeah, basically I've seen that you've really gotten more and more involved. And of course you invest privately, but you also have a whole crypto university where you teach people how to get involved. So tell us a little bit about your history and how you got to where you are now.
Oh yeah, so my story is basically about I think about 7 or 8 years ago. I was just curious about technologies. I was learning software and computer graphics, and then I suddenly came across Bitcoin and on Reddit. So at that time, I did not believe that you could have something. I mean, in simpler terms, we could say you could not copy and paste digitally, because we used to say, okay, the hardest thing in computers, the hardest problem to solve is not to copy and paste, because computers are good at that. So when I read it there was an AMA with Bill Gates on Reddit, and people were asking him about Bitcoin. Then I came across it there. I did a little bit of reading. Then I didn't believe that it's real until I interacted with it. Then I was like, oh, this problem was actually solved. And then I looked more into it. I learned a lot about the finances and the economics of it. Then I realized how it was appealing to me, because I remember at the time I had saved up a little bit of money that I wanted to invest in. But whenever I tried to invest in stocks or whatever, it was either I cannot invest in those stocks. I wanted to invest in Facebook at the time, at Tesla. But I couldn't invest because I was in Africa, and these American companies, we needed a broker. It was kind of too complicated. And also, if I wanted to invest in like startups, I was being told that, oh, you're not an accredited investor to invest in these early startup companies. So when Bitcoin came through, I was like, this is like the passport of money. Once you have this Bitcoin, then you can literally just do whatever you want around the world. So that's really what struck my interest with it.
Well, what year was that you came across it and this all happened?
I first came across it in 2013, 2014. And
right.
The funny story is that all the Bitcoins that I bought on that day, when I came across it, I lost all of them. That was like 20 or 30 Bitcoins or something, which now is like 30 million Rand. It's insane.
Yeah. Wow. Yeah. And that's around when we met, was somewhere around 2014.
Exactly.
Because I remember you were starting on that, and then you started up a YouTube channel, and it's got 120,000 subscribers now. Is that right?
Exactly.
Something like that. And
Exactly.
so, and yeah.
Yeah, on the YouTube side, I was like curious about this thing that I still used to work, and I was running my own little business. So at night I would be doing all this crypto stuff, and then you get a little lonely. Even today, not many people are into cryptocurrency as much. So I sort of found my own community online where we just used to go live and talk about this stuff. It wasn't really like a YouTube project, but then the more I learned about it, I just became more passionate about sharing the knowledge and I was finding out some really cool things to do with your money and how you can sort of find loopholes to get the Bitcoins. So that's how the channel started really. And now it's like the largest in when it comes to cryptocurrency.
Wow, that's amazing.
Amazing.
Yeah,
Very well
amazing.
done.
Yeah, super well done. So where can people learn from you? And then we'll get into talking to Meir, but where can people find out more about you and what you offer?
Oh yeah, the best place to go is Crypto University. Crypto University is the largest learning platform in the world when it comes to cryptocurrency learning for retail investors and traders.
Wow.
If you learn how to trade, if you want to learn how to invest, it's the place where you find everything you need in one place. It's called the domain name is cryptouniversity.network. But we also other interesting things there. We have free courses on blockchain technology. Free courses on other things like Ethereum smart contracts and many other things as well, like gaming. We have now NFT gaming, which is people can play games and earn money today with what we call play to earn. So we have a scholarship going on in there. We have invested hundreds of thousands of our own money to encourage many people to come into this space. So yeah, Crypto University is the best place to go. YouTube is Crypto Hustle.
Okay.
Amazing. So is that right? Cryptouniversity.network?
Correct.
Perfect. Amazing, amazing, amazing. Great.
Good.
So that's incredible. Well done. And you've
Very
actually,
well done. Yeah,
you
met.
you've met, you've done interviews together.
That's correct. Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So it's good to reconnect all over again.
Exactly.
And we kind of got you on because we said, yeah, okay, maybe do you have some questions for Meir? And let's kind of hear, with all the success, what are the challenges that you have and that you would like to kind of,
Or your followers have.
or your followers have. Exactly. It could be you or or your followers.
For sure.
Yeah.
So Meir has been really a great distant mentor to me, from when we used to do the podcast. He helped me understand a lot of things and answered a lot of questions. Some of those kind of questions that people typically just ignore when you ask, or just say, everything will be okay. Meir sort of has this systematic, pragmatic approach to problem solving. It's like he breaks it down into, a grain of salt that you understand what you're dealing with. So,
True.
I mean, things were different for me then, and a little different now. So the questions that I have, one of the things that I've been struggling with is scaling. I'm making adjustments. So especially with like financial value, how you perceive value in money. So a few years ago, I couldn't, maybe my rent, my monthly rent was like $400, right? Now I'm spending $400. I have to spend $400 per night in a hotel or more.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I still have that thing that be like, $400, that's like 6,500 rand, and it makes it very hard for me to know whether if I spend that money, am I being crazy or it's the right thing to do, or where am I? It's hard to find to find my place in life, because I still have my background that still reminds me of how much $500 is. At the same time, I do make more than enough to actually afford that. But I still have this pull back and forth situation. So I don't know how you have approached that in your own life over time.
Okay.
Good question.
That's a very good question. I was born with no money. Yes, I was born in a very small city. My parents didn't have money. I made more money than them since I was more or less about 13. So
yeah, at 13, my grandma, his mom, basically said that by the age of 13, he was making more money at 13 than they were but
Yeah.
they started very, very poor.
Yeah.
I mean,
So I know the feeling. I know what you're talking about. And basically, what does it mean? It's either that they were useless or I was very good. So, so I know the mentality because I came from there. I knew like there's no money, but all of a sudden I'm making more and more money. And the way that I've handled it is to have very close records of what I spend and what I make. The more I made, the more I insisted to have statistics. So the more I managed my life based on the numbers and not based on the feelings. Because the most dangerous situation for a person is financial situation, the most dangerous, more than going bankrupt, more than having no money, more than anything, is when things go really well very fast. Because you lose control over the spending versus the making. And that's the handling for that is having very specific statistics. You need to have in front of you graphed at least once per week, minimum, how much you have, how much you spend. And if the distance is big enough, that's fine. What you need to do is to increase it. Don't say, oh, I'm making so much, so I can decrease the distance between the making it and the spending. Because before you know it, if it starts to go down, it will cross and you will make less than you spend. So the answer is numbers. You have to be, if you want to relieve yourself from the problem of the past, you need constant proof in the present that actually everything is okay.
Wow, that is amazing. Yeah. This is exactly what I was talking about. Like, that's just give me a lot of clarity now that, okay, I should just have a ratio of income to expenditure. And if it's good enough, then, I probably used to spend more money back then if I looked at the ratio of the previous earnings. But now the numbers are just bigger. So it's more like an emotional call, like you say. So you're right about that.
It's a very dangerous situation. It's deadly to have this situation where things are really going up and up and up, when you have this affluence that is almost uncontrollable because there's so much money that you feel that it's okay. But if you sit down and you take all the expenses, all the future expenses, all the commitments, you will see that the picture is always different than what you see. At one point, you make so much money that it's not important and you can let someone else watch those numbers. And then you can move to just look at that once per month and it's fine. Because the further you are from the handling of the money, the longer the time that you need to look at in between. But right now, where you are, once per week, I will look at the numbers.
Right.
Simple two numbers. Just overall, how much money I make this week. Overall, how much money I spend this week. That's it.
Right. Thank you so much for that. And the next question that I have is, how do you, you have run companies of, millions of dollars, hundreds of millions. How do you know what's important? Because now, I have like a team to manage. Everybody have their own thing. Then I also have like external partnership in the business. And then I get overwhelmed with messages all day that I have to respond to. And then I also have to sort of be in social media with today's world to keep up with what's going on. I have to create content. And everything is important. And sometimes I get paralyzed by, I'm like, am I doing really the most important thing, the right thing, or I'm caught up in this haywire of the mess that I've created?
Yeah, that's a very good question. And the question is divided to two. First of all, the principle. In order to gain control over everything, you must causatively decide which things you leave uncontrolled. If you don't do that, you will not control anything. You see, people that want to control, they have this fake reality that they need to control everything. You need to sit down and make a list of what are you going to control and what you're going to positively leave uncontrolled. Yes, you know it's not ideal, but I decided it's uncontrolled. Now, how do you decide what control and what's not? It depends on the stage of the business, but generally, anything that brings income must be controlled because control equals income. That's number one. Number two, administration must be controlled. You have to control the administration. Once the income is handled, you must control the administration, and then you must control the delivery. So number one, sales, marketing, that's number one, must be controlled. Now, when I say controlled, it means that whatever you do, you build it in such a way that you handle it, and not only that you finish the cycle, it's done, but you have a system that it will never come back to you.
Right.
Now, there is a whole huge body of knowledge of, on the one hand, what is the stages of business and what you put your attention on. There are 7 stages in business, any business, and you need to put your attention on one piece at a time and then leave the rest uncontrolled. That's number one. And number two, there is a whole subject of how to remove noise, how to make sure that you're not handling noise all the time. Because what's really the problem is that there's a few amazing things that you need to do during the day, but there's thousands of things that are actually noise, but you don't recognize them as noise. For example, people coming to you and just calling you and saying, hey, what should I do here? And you need to answer it. They give you questions that they need to ask themselves. They give it to you.
Right. It happens all the time.
Yeah. So that's you handle by training, by learning the different ways that people can generate noise and remove that noise, educating those people what is this kind of a noise, so they know this is noise, and you agree that we are not going to do that because it's not good for you and it's not good for them. So the handling, the full handling, the immediate penado, the first aid is decide I'm going to leave those things unhandled and I'm going to handle only those things. I'm going to control only those things. The rest is okay. I'm not trying to be perfect. I'm trying to print money. It's different, 2 different things. So, so this is what I'm going to control, and those things I'm not going to control. Once you do that, you organize your life in such a way that everything you handle once, so you don't go back to it. And number 3, part of this organization, or 2A, is you need to train your people of what are the different type of noises that an organization can generate. And there are 59 types, by the way. And you teach them those things. And by them knowing it, they will gain control over it. And they will stop giving you noise. And all of a sudden you will see, whoa, I can breathe. I have time. What I was doing all this other time.
Right. Yeah, that's lovely. It's like right now, actually, I know that what I need to work on is just to not have too much to do. You know, I'm looking forward to just reach to this space where I'm like, okay, I don't really have to do anything. But it seems like it's far ahead. It feels close, but it just keeps on going, right? It's like I feel. And like
specifically, we can do coaching on how to handle it specifically for you, and I can give you that knowledge. And everyone that wants to learn can contact us, and I can give you the knowledge. I can actually I was actually talking to Gilly. He wanted me to do these seminars on how to handle noise, how to become efficient.
Yeah, we spoke about that also. Yes. At one point. We were saying that's a big thing.
That's a big thing, and we can take like the basic like first aid, short webinar, a few webinars, and then do a whole series, which is then actual handling, getting a busy executive to a point where he start the webinar here, the series, and by the end he released himself from managing his own organization, so he can create the future and not be stuck in the past.
Right.
Yeah, and would that be something that staff should also know, like
Everyone.
be on? So
Everyone.
you would get the executive to watch, and all
And
the staff need to
have
be trained.
because if only the
Yeah.
executive knows that, then he will be a weirdo.
Yeah,
Because he will talk about things that they don't know, and he's a weirdo for them now, and just damage.
Right. I see. That'd be amazing. Yeah. So just as one question off of Gray's, what is one thing that typically people can leave uncontrolled a little bit more? You have the impulse to control it, but you need to just be like, it's going to be fine. I'm going to step back and work on income.
Okay. So you have this thing that, for example, you feel that you have to answer all your emails. At the beginning, there are some internal emails that you can leave uncontrolled. First of all, the beginning is forget about the internal emails. Don't handle them. You think they are urgent, but they are urgent only if you handle them. If you leave your own stuff uncontrolled and you handle only 1, 2, 3 people on your whole organization, and all the rest, all the 500 other people, so how many you have, you just let them do whatever. You don't answer the emails, and you just tell them once per week, look, I know you're doing a good job. I know I'm not answering all your emails. I know I'm delayed, but it is only because I trust you. Just do the basic things. Is your job is to reduce the confusion in your area. Wherever you are, your job is to reduce the confusion. Whatever you do, if you think, should I do that or not? Does it reduce the confusion? Does it make things faster? If yes, do it. You have my authority, just go for it. And if you do a big mistake, so we will kill you, so what? It's not so serious.
Yeah. But it's so true. It's amazing because I've spoken to a few different executives, and everyone says the same thing, that sometimes they get too busy, they don't answer their phone for a few hours when normally they would have, and somehow later you get to answering your staff, and they say, never mind what I was calling you about, I figured it out, don't worry, it's fine.
So the first part to live uncontrolled, which is counterintuitive, is your own stuff.
Mm-hmm.
You take one person that really you need to be in communication with him, within the organization, maybe 2, and all the rest, just forget about it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Just forget about them. Just tell them, look, whatever you do, fine. The worst case scenario, I will fire you.
Yes.
It's the truth. It's the truth, because even if they ask you, if they cannot make it go right by their own, you will fire them. It's just you make the process faster.
Right. So can I ask one more question, Gal?
Of course.
Yeah. Ask as many as you want. It's fine. Go for it.
Okay. So at a personal level, I was speaking to my friends today about this actually. So running your own business give you a good set of freedom that you can do anything you want at whenever, right? And this is kind of like one of the motivating factors for a lot of people to start their own ventures. As you go, then you also realize that it becomes a little prison that you create for yourself, that you need discipline to make it work, because you can't just wake up at any time. It now becomes a job. It used to be like this fun thing that you used to do whenever. Now it's a job. You need to show up on time and what have you. How do you get about creating self-discipline to be able to do things on time and how they're supposed to be done, when you also have the freedom of not doing it without any real consequences?
Okay, good. So I will tell you something that might seem weird, but if you work with it, you'll see that it actually works. You first of all have to understand, what does it mean, freedom? Okay? Freedom do not mean that anything is allowed. If anything is allowed when we have freedom, I can go out in the street and someone shoot me. It's freedom. Yes? Freedom actually come with a list of barriers. And otherwise it's not freedom, because you have nothing to be freed from.
Right.
Okay? Yeah. However, freedom and barriers, when you have those both together, give you a certain purpose, a strong purpose. So the fuel comes from the freedom to overcome the barriers. The fake reality is freedom means no barriers. If you have no barriers, you will have no purposes. I'll give you an example. You take a waitress, okay? So she has very little freedom because she has to be at a specific time, etc. But she has very little barriers. The maximum that she needs to do is to write down the order and to bring it to her people. And she have very small purpose, which is to serve the next customer and hopefully to finish the month and pay the rent. Now, I'll take a busy executive. Let's take the lawyer of the top lawyer of the biggest company in the world. He has huge freedom, huge barriers, unbelievable amount of barriers. He has strong purpose to make this Apple a successful company, but he has an endless amount of freedom. He can go to eat lunch in London and in the evening to be back in New York, and he can decide to do whatever he wants, and he has so much support. So how do you fix a person that feels that he cannot handle that freedom? Find out where he lost his purpose. Recover the purpose, because there is somewhere along the line that your purpose has been lost. And from going towards this purpose, you're now going towards answering emails or handling these people or doing that or looking good or something else that actually, because you lost your purpose, now they're not real barriers for you. You have enough money, you have enough. If you didn't answer, nothing will happen, blah, blah, blah. So you are now cannot actually have freedom. And it's totally counterintuitive because you think, if I want freedom, I need less barriers. No, you want freedom, more barriers, bigger purpose. And it's totally counterintuitive. And if you don't really figure this thing out, your purpose in life will become to have no problems. No, if you love success, be a radar for problems, be a radar for barriers. Look for barriers. I'm looking for barriers because when I come, if there's a barrier, I come, I have a strong purpose to overcome those barriers. What is my reward? Freedom.
Right. So now freedom becomes this kind of like an earned sort of level for fulfillment, so to speak, right? That comes after completion of some task or challenge.
Exactly. So you need to find where you lost the purpose. So your task will be towards that purpose. Because right now your task is not towards that purpose. 99% of your day, your task do not forward you 1 millimeter towards your purpose. They actually take you away. So you feel that you don't have freedom. You are locked in a jail. Yeah, because you have to do those things for nothing. Absolutely. It's like just because I have to answer these people. But if you look a year back, and I'll tell you, take all the list of the things that you've done and how important they were, not important. You thought at the time they were important. That's why you've done them. You're busy, but still you did them. But they're nothing.
Absolutely right.
They're nothing. You did not decide, this is my purpose. So you've done random action that did not forward you towards the purpose. If you have that purpose fully defined, you will see anything that will come that is not aligned with that purpose, you'll throw away. Imagine you're in a car, you're going to save your son. He's about to die. And you're going towards the hospital, okay? And the purpose is to save your son. And now all of a sudden, there's a dog that's barking on the side. And you say, I'm going to handle the dog. To do that, you have to forget the purpose. Right. And now you start to handle the dog. And while you're handling the dog, you discover that the city do not handle the dogs properly. So you now go and handle the city that don't, and you do all kind of sub-action that has nothing to do with saving your son. Your real purpose is dying, literally dying, and you handling dogs. And most people, most of the time, handling only dogs, not going any closer to the actual purpose because they never define the purpose. So they're very easily strayed towards stray dogs.
Stray dogs. Yeah, that's a very good way to put it. Yeah, that is another good way of deconstructing these problems, because when you have them in your head, they just feel like it's this gloomy, weird challenge you have to deal with, and you're like, oh, nobody really has the answers to this. It's my life, and who really understand? But it's good that you're, anytime I speak to you, every time you sort of you come up with really real tools for me to sort of overcome the obstacles. So thank you for that, and thank you again for tonight for doing this with me.
Thank you. Yeah.
Absolutely, and thank you for being on. And of
thank
course,
you. And we had lots of comments here.
Yeah, lots of people wrote in. I saw.
Wow, so good, amazing. That is an amazing viewpoint, Natasha. Let's get Meir to teach. Yes, BBM. Yes. Good. Wow, there's so many. Wow. There's so many comments, and it's beautiful.
Yeah, and I think that was amazing. And also, it's such a great solution, what you said, the things you said. And I also know that, of course, for some people, like, yes, there's more to it than we can do on a live. And of course, kind of the broader solution, as you said, you can help people. But that was so helpful just right off the bat.
Thank you.
And it gives you, it shows the door to the solution, which I love. Yeah, that was awesome.
Thank you.
One more question for Gal.
So,
how much pressure do you feel having your dad at that age, that he's very active, he's working as hard as just like you working, and then you're the youngest, you have to actually, put out more work, and this time is still up doing the work, and you also have to keep up. How does that feel? You feel too much pressure?
Yeah. No, not at all. It actually feels great. I think the interesting thing is I never put the pressure there for myself, and he never put the pressure there either. It was always the viewpoint of go create, have fun, just not and fun as in I know where I'm going, but have fun going there. So just create, and there was never pressure that I felt from him, and I never felt any kind of like, oh, I need to. It's always been like, play the game. Like every day I go to work and I have important meetings, and I feel like a little kid that's playing dress up, putting on a suit and going to play a game as a little child. Like that's how I feel it. It's a game every day. So I've never felt that. Yeah.
I'll give you my viewpoint. My viewpoint is Gal was trained with this knowledge since before he was born. Probably he was listening.
Yes,
and he was very good always at duplicating 100% and asking questions, and not just taking things because I said them, but he wanted really to understand, and I saw that he's forming his own ideas. And because he knows so much, he has so much responsibility and total control over the area, that if I will come in, the only time that I come in is if he asks me a specific question, and I'm always surprised because he knows the answer. So he knows the answer. So I'm always surprised. So I never I don't think I ever get involved. For example, if you would come to me and you would say, in Power, this customer didn't pay, blah, blah, blah. And I'll tell him, yeah, I know, you'll manage it. That's my answer. And it's not important how much money it is. I know, you'll manage it. I never check. I never do anything with him. I know that he knows. So when you have someone that fully trained, he's not a burden. He is he's an area that totally under control. And what does it mean? It means that our purposes are totally aligned. So it cannot go wrong because our purposes are so aligned, because we know exactly what's the purpose. We have the knowledge, and obviously the control just show up. So when you fully control something, it's effortless. When you see a dancer that fully control his body, it's effortless. When you see a pianist that fully control his area, it's effortless. You can actually say that the level of effort that you need to invest in something indicate how much you don't know.
Right. Yeah, that's spot on. I think it's just a good, you guys, the way you set up is just a good model to have. That I'm sure it makes it harder for God to fail, because he has a lot of knowledge behind him. He's always looking, and the inspiration, like you're always in shape, so I'm sure he's always watching. Okay.
I'm like, I need to be there when I'm almost 60. Oh my God.
Exactly.
Yeah.
If you're 60, are you gonna maintain that shape? That's
Yeah, I better be. Yeah.
Because I'm going to be here and watch.
Yeah, he's gonna. Yeah, then he'll put pressure. He's like, hey, that at 60, that's where I was.
Right. Exactly.
Yeah. So, but a great question. Very,
Yeah.
very good question. And by the way, there was someone here on the chat that said that they would like to learn more about crypto from Grey. So if that's the case, definitely go to cryptouniversity.network, or on YouTube, you're Hardcore Crypto, right? Is that the channel name?
We changed the name now to Crypto Hustle, because YouTube
Crypto Hustle.
or name on it.
Right.
Oh, Hardcore. Okay. Let me write. Yeah, I'll write the name.
Let's say
So,
write it now. The name, so people will have it.
So Crypto Hustle, you said, right?
Yes, and by the way, we're doing an event in South Africa. So for those who are interested in like in-person event, we're doing that on the 26th of November in Johannesburg, and 4th of December in Cape Town at Workshop 17. So for those
fantastic.
who to that, yeah, it's listed on the university as well. People can get the tickets from there.
Okay, amazing,
perfect.
Great. So yeah, they'll find us, and if anybody struggles to get connected to you, they can chat to us, and we'll get you there. Yeah, amazing. Okay, this was great. Thank you for your time and for the great questions. That was really good.
Thank you.
I really
Always
enjoyed
nice talking to you.
Yes.
You are really special.
Thank you.
Well
guys.
done.
I appreciate that every time I get the answers. So that is big for me. It's not
that's
when you speak to someone and they actually give you some tangible substance,
Wow.
Yeah, that's amazing. That's what's amazing about Meir. It's always like, whoa, I didn't expect that.
Absolutely.
I love it. Yeah.
Right.
Okay.
Thank you.
Yes,
Bye,
guys.
everyone. Thank you for watching. Bye-bye.
Thank you.
Take care.